Assalamu alaikum all. Today we are going to discuss about a new portion in our grammar. What is that? Yes, clauses. What is? What is clauses? We already studied in our science standard about clause and all, right? Okay, just open your textbook and read. A clause is a group of words that forms a part of a sentence. It has subject and predicate. There are two types of clause, principal clause and subordinative clause. Which are the things? Listen all of you. A clause is a group of words that forms a part of a sentence. It has a subject and predicate. There are two types of clause, principal clause and subordinate clause. Okay, all of you. A principal clause is a group of words that contains subject, verb and express a complete thought. A principal clause can stand by itself and as a separate sentence. Okay, listen all of you. Clause is a group of words that forms a part of sentence. Clause ennu parayunnathu group of words aanu, part of sentence. Listen, parts of sentence. Okay, then which is the next one here? Listen. Okay, then it should have endana oru subject and predicate. Subject and predicate. Okay, two types of clause. Clause ennu parnale oru part of sentence aanu, group of words, oru subjectum oru predicatum, adu clause. Okay, then two types of clauses, principal clause and subordinate clause. And subordinate, principal clause and subordinate clause. As the name itself, principal clause can stand itself. Okay, that is independent clause. What is independent clause? All of you listen. Principal clause that can stand itself, it is dependent clause. What we can call? It is independent but here subordinate, that is dependent. ഇവരെ ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് ജീവിക്കുന്ന ആളാണ് ആൾക്കാർ. ആരാണത്? പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ക്ലോസിനെ ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് സബോർഡിനേറ്റ് ക്ലോസ്. അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ്? പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ക്ലോസ് ക്യാൻ സ്റ്റാൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് സെൽഫ്. It have its own meaning. But when the subordinate get meaning? Only with the principal clause. Understand? Okay, here a principal clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and express a complete thought. And a principal clause stand by itself as a separate sentence. Okay, it's have its own meaning. Okay, then all of you listen. I heard the loud noise and I shrieked. Then all of you listen. Sometimes in a sentence we get what? Two principal clauses. But means principal clause, I told you that independent aanu, correct meaning. Listen. The chief minister is in the auditorium. Listen, all of you. Listen. A subordinate clause does the work of a single word or phrase and it completes by itself. So, it must be joined to main clause. This means that the clause is subordinate to another clause for its meaning. Leave everything, all rules. First you understood these things. ഇത് മനസ്സിലാക്കുക. Principal and subordinate clause. Clause two kinds ആണ്. Principal clause ആണ്, subordinate clause ആണ്. Subordinate clause എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ principal clauseന്റെ കൂടെ വരുന്നതാണ് ആര്? Subordinate clause. All of you listen. I will give you one example. Okay. I heard the loud noise and I shrieked. I heard the loud noise and I shrieked. I heard the loud noise. Complete meaning, right? That is principal clause. Then and I shrieked. That also have what? That also have complete meaning. Then we can call that also principal sentence, principal clause. Okay. Then all of you listen. In our textbook we have simple things. When I heard the loud noise, I jumped. Listen all of you. When I heard the loud noise. Listen, loud noise. When I heard loud noise, I jumped. When I heard the loud noise, I jumped. All of you listen. When I heard the loud noise, I jumped. Can you say which is the main clause here, principal clause here? Can you say anything? Yes, when I heard the loud noise, that is subordinate clause. Then I jumped is the principal clause. I jumped, we got meaning. I jumped. Okay, but if this sentence stands alone, if we didn't get meaning completely, when I heard the loud noise, what we heard, nothing is completed here. But I jumped, we got meaning. Understood? But we want meaning with this principal clause. We want the meaning of this statement, this sentence with these words, with this statement, with this sentence. Understood? If it is stand alone, we couldn't get anything. Our idea, our meaning is not complete. When it complete, when we join this sentence with this principal clause, we get the meaning of this sentence completely. Understood all of you? That is the relationship of subordinate and principal clause. Subordinate clause is dependent to principal clause. Understood? Principal clause can stand itself and it has its own meaning. But in the case of subordinate clause, they can't stand themselves, and if they want meaning only with the principal clause. Okay, all of you? Understood? Okay. Then we are moving to discuss again through some examples. Listen all of you. Tick the principal clause. Write your name. Is it principal clause? One person come and write your name. Yes, that is principal clause. We got all meaning. We got all idea, right? Okay. Then, because she is an Italian. One person came, because she is an Italian. We get complete meaning? No, that is subordinate clause. Okay, then next one, give me. One person come and ask you, give me. Then can you say that? What is that? Yes, that is principal clause. Yes, Then tick it. Then a sentence that explained. A person came and said, a sentence that explain. What it's a sentence that explains. A person came and said to you, a sentence that explains. We are waiting. What is coming next? Then only we can complete this. Yes, that is subordinate clause. The main idea should be clear. Main idea should be clear. That is principal clause. Express an idea. Subordinate clause. When Malti wrote an email, if a person asks you, say you something like this, surely we are waiting for the rest of the sentence. That is principal, and here is the subordinate clause. But in the case of principal clause, give me, yes, we got the meaning, everything. We got the meaning, everything. And when Malti wrote an email, however, that is not correct. That is principal clause. While you were on phone, that is subordinate clause. What was the message Mr. Rogers gave you for the chairperson? What was the message Mr. gave you for the chairperson? That is subordinate clause. Then read this poem by Eliot and identify the underlined parts as principal or subordinate clause. Okay, then all of you take that example. Okay, Gus is the cat and the theater door. Then give me at the theater door. Is it main clause or subordinate? Yes, subordinate clause. His name, as I ought to have told you before, subordinate. First subordinate and second subordinate. K, exercise number K we are discussing. Then is really asparagus, that is such a fuss, principal. Then to pronounce that we usually call him just Gus, subordinate. Fifth one, his coat is very shabby, he is thin as a rake, principal clause. And sixth one, and he suffers from palsy and that makes his paw shake, principal. And yet he was in his youth quite the smartest of cats, principal. Sorry, and seventh one, yet he was in his youth quite the smartest of cats. Subordinate. Then but no longer a terror to mice and rats, principal clause. Then we are moving to discuss subject and predicate. All of you listen. What is we are going to subject and predicate. Listen all of you. Now we are going to discuss subject and predicate. When we form a sentence, we name a person or a thing and say something about the person or a thing. The part of the sentence that names person or a thing is called a subject. The subject can be word or a group of words. A part that tells us something about the subject we can call predicate. Like we can easily find out the subject and which are the things, the part that tells something about the subject. Subject കുറിച്ച് പറയുന്ന കാര്യമാണ് എന്ത്? Predicate. Then the predicate contains a verb. It can be a word or group of words. In your textbook, subject, the new student walked into the class. A stuffed mammoth was on display at the Museum of Natural History. A sentence that has one subject and one predicate is a simple sentence. Okay, all of you listen carefully. First we discuss about subject. We can easily find out subject. What is the predicate? Subject ne kurichu endano parayunnathu adana endu predicate. Okay, then here a part of a sentence that names a person or a thing we can call that is our subject, and predicate part of that tells us something about the subject. Telling something about tells us something about the subject. സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ എന്താണോ പറയുന്നത് അതാണ് എന്ത് predicate. Simple ആയിട്ട് അത്ര പഠിച്ചു വെച്ചാൽ മതി. Subject we know that what is that part of sentence that names a person or a thing and it tells us about something about the subject. സബ്ജക്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് എന്താണോ പറയുന്നത് അതാണ് എന്ത് predicate. Okay, a sentence that has one subject and one predicate. One subject one predicate വന്ന അതാണ് എന്ത് one simple sentence. What we can call simple sentence. Okay, then both sentences have a simple sentence. Each simple sentences has no principal clause. Listen, nothing more. Nalini is well, but her brother is ill. Sometimes there may be more than one subject and predicate in the sentence. Simple we are using, commonly we are using simple sentence. We can call that a simple sentence. I love maths and I love astrology, history. These sentences consist of two parts. Each part is a clause. Each clause is independent of the other and all the other clauses are the same order and rank. They are all principal clause. When we take that I love maths and I love history, what is that? When we take that one sentence I love maths, yes, complete meaning, that is principal clause. When we take I love history, yes, when we take that sentence itself from that sentence, surely we know that what is that is simple sentence. Then it's our principal clause. The two parts are joined by coordinating conjunction. What is that? And each part has its own subject and predicate. Sentence that have two or more principal clauses are called compound sentence. Two or more principal clause we can call that is compound sentence. Sometimes a sentence consists of two clauses, one dependent on other. The children went to bed when the night fell. Principal clause also there, and here one clause is dependent on the principal clause. Then all of you listen. The underlined part of two sentences above are principal clauses, and the part they are given, the gray are dependent clause because they are dependent to principal clause. They are not make sense of their own. Sentence that have one principal clause and one more dependent clause, complex sentence. Then what is the meaning of compound sentence? Simple sentence. Which are the things we studied today? Which are the kinds of sentence? First, simple sentence. എന്താണ് simple. Listen. Then compound sentence. What is that? Compound sentence. Then last is complex. Okay. What is simple sentence? Underline it. A sentence that has one subject and one predicate is a simple sentence. One subject one predicate ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതെന്താണ് simple sentence ആണ്. Okay, then which is a compound sentence? Which is the compound sentence? Sentence that have two or more principal clause. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു principal clause എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത് പറഞ്ഞു അല്ലേ. Principal clause ആണ് if you take one sentence from there, എന്താണ് ഒരു സെൻറ്റൻസ് അതിൽ നിന്ന് എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിന് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് മീനിങ് ഉണ്ട്. ആ സെയിം സെൻറ്റൻസിലെ മറ്റൊരു പാർട്ടിനെ എടുക്കുമ്പോഴോ സെയിം ഫുൾ മീനിങ്. ഇഫ് വി ഗെറ്റ് ഫുൾ മീനിങ് അപ്പോൾ അതെന്താണ് കോമ്പൗണ്ട് സെൻറ്റൻസ്. ഓക്കെ, കോമ്പൗണ്ട് സെൻറ്റൻസ് മീൻസ് ഗീവ് മീ one, two, one print. Then what is that? Sentence that have two or more principal clause. Two or more principal clause. Two or more principal clause. Okay, then which is the next one? Complex. Sentence that have one principal clause and one or more dependent clause. ഒരു പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ക്ലോസ് ഉണ്ടാവുക, പിന്നെന്താണ് വൺ ഓർ മോർ ഡിപ്പെൻഡൻറ്റ് ക്ലോസ്. Okay, that we can call complex sentence. Okay, then through exercise we can get easily. All of you listen. Match the columns to make a complex sentence. This is the period. This is the period. Amy, complex sentence ആണ്. Complex sentence എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ one principal clause വേണം, അതിന് one or more dependent clause വേണം. Okay, this is the period. To help my teacher finalize the badminton kits for sports day. Okay, then give me the second. We were playing one or more dependent clauseകളാണ് അല്ലേ? You can use your own. We were playing when the rain started. I sent Ragini an email when she was in the camp. We have a great time when we go to my grandparents' place. Okay, rest of the questions you can do yourself. Then I will give you 1 day for the submission. Okay, and add principal clause. We can use your own. Then use your own to make a compound sentence. Talking about compound sentence, what is that? Two or more principal clause. Okay, principal clause means എന്താണ് അതിന് correct ആയിട്ട് എന്തുണ്ടാവും? Meaning ഉണ്ടാവും. Then more practice also you can do as your own. Okay, then do everything and I will give you 1 day and inshallah I will explain. I will give you the answers through WhatsApp and you can check yourselves. Okay, all of you read that chapter well, then surely you can remember everything fastly. Okay, all of you, thank you.